what these girls are wearing out here.
And I'm 5.5 months postpartum, and I'm like, what is this?
If I become 400 pounds,
Please tell me about myself.
Someone needs to tell me.
Yes.
Hey guys, it's me again and my girl Naycha. We're back with you guys with another episode, and we are excited to be talking about embracing our body today. Whether you are just on your fitness journey and trying to achieve new goals, whether you're pregnant or your pre-pregnancy body, your post-pregnancy body, you're going through menopause, whatever it may look like as a woman, trying to achieve those goals and just embracing it while you're on that journey. So we're excited to do that today. We also have an incredible guest. She's a wife, a mom, and known for her motivation in the fitness industry. And her name is Lita Lewis, and she will be with us shortly. But first, Naycha, how was your weekend?
It was calm, cool, collective. I didn't do too much, but I saw you went on a date night.
I sure did.
Tell us about it.
Well, that was one of the things that I had to get
was.
into. So we went on a date night. We went to, the Gucci store has a restaurant. Yes, I had no clue.
I didn't
And it's
either.
like a full 8-course situation. Yes, looks like all Gucci. It's super nice. And it's in Beverly Hills. And they just wined and dined us. We had some wine. We had our 8-course of unique entrees and plates.
What was the best one?
Okay, so they had this like little cheese. Okay, I'm going to say a cheeseburger, but without the burger. It was all a cheese. Like it was a fried cheese patty.
Interesting.
And it was so cute. And it came out in like a little container and it was perfect. But I loved it. It was delicious. And then what else would we like? Oh, they had this risotto pizza. So it looked like a pizza, but it was actually risotto and it tasted bomb. It was very strange. You have to go to try it out. But it was great. It was on a rooftop. We did that. And then we went to the floor room. And we forgot that it was Halloween and people were like all dressed up. And we were just sitting there, not dressed at all.
Oops.
And just trying to enjoy our date night. Yeah. But it was fun. We had a good time. Got back around 1. And I got a good solid night of rest. Yeah.
Good.
So it was a success. Oh, I got a good solid night of rest because my parents took the kids.
Even better. Even better. Ooh, I miss my mommy.
Mm-hmm. And then the next morning we went to brunch.
Oh, you guys had an extended little date
We
night
sure did.
/ morning. I love that for you.
I'm checking off my boxes, girl. I'm determined to get back to me again.
As you should.
So we have a TikTok that we need to watch.
Okay.
So let's check that out.
Hi, my little chickens. It's been a minute. Welcome back to Getting Dressed with Me while I say nice things to you. Let's go! Okay, so today I wanted to talk about body positivity versus body neutrality. Body positivity is obviously learning to love, worship, and celebrate our beautiful bodies out loud. Body neutrality is the idea that you don't think of your body positively or negatively. You don't really think of your body as at all. You just exist and you're worthy of respect all the same. Now, I've been seeing some people on the internet starting to wonder more about body neutrality or saying that it works better for them. And for me, what has worked personally is a good, healthy mixture of both. Give it up for the shoes. I have learned how to celebrate and love my body after years of hating it, but I've also learned that my body is the least interesting thing about me. It's just a body. All I'm saying is there's no pressure to choose one. It's whatever works for you.
Interesting concept.
And
So body
body
positivity is all for the way you're looking, your appearance at any state, however you look, if you're 150 pounds and ripped or you're 600 pounds.
And not, right. It's more about just loving your body and seeing it as
Right.
positive.
Okay, and then body neutrality is the idea that your body is not something to be celebrated, right? So it's really just existing kind of, and you don't really need to address your body.
I don't know if I like that one I understand the both of them, and I think that the woman on the TikTok said it great when she said it's a good combination between the two. because I have a lot of opinions.
Okay, so what's your opinion? Especially being in the fitness industry, what are your thoughts on this?
Like the idea of your body not being something to celebrate, man, fuck that. I get up every morning and I can walk with my feet. I'm celebrating that. My body, I'm here. Like I get the concept of it. I always had a little issue with like the body positivity movement and stuff like that. Not to say don't be positive about your body, because I love yourself. But I feel like it kind of gave a little excuse to not, it should be body like overall healthiness. I feel like it gave an excuse to just like, all right, I am who I am. I'm not going to try to change it. I'm not going to change my diet. I'm not going to change my movement. I'm just going to sit here.
Right.
So I feel like, in a sense, it could be a great thing if we're using it as a tool to say, you know what, like, I don't have to look like the picture perfect person. Like, social media gives you this idea of what you're supposed to look like. And you got to have a fat ass and you got to have big tits. And no, and a small little waist. That's not everybody's genetics. It's not what everyone's called for. It's not, you are you. We're all different for a reason. And I think that if we take these body positivity and body neutrality and combine it, but also in a positive way of how am I going to overall just being healthy internally. And you may see a little bit of, like, if you work on your internal health overall, you might see body composition that changes a little bit, because you're not focused on like what your body actually looks like. So I get it. I think it's a good mixture if you kind of pull it the right way.
Okay, so you want to know what I'm tired of is labeling everything.
Oh, I know.
I'm exhausted
so
with
annoying.
You have to be, this is body positivity. This is body neutrality. Don't speak about my body. Don't address my body. I knew a story of someone, this is the craziest story you're going to hear, of someone that was on a call and the person said, "Oh, maybe you want kids in the future." And then took it to HR and said this person was basically sexualizing or body shaming or whatever it was, because it's about my ovaries. Was so insulted on the comment that the person said that you're going to have kids one day.
Can we just stop and say we are too damn sensitive?
Too damn sensitive. And I think that having these like slogans or whatever they're called, it's too much, because it's exhausting, and ultimately I think it's a excuse. You know what I mean?
Ultimately, to stay where you're at.
Right, to stay where you're at. One, address your body. I know I address my body. I want my body to be healthy. I want my body to be able to take me places. I want to be able to wake up and walk and hold my kids and play with my kids and do that whole thing. And unfortunately, and I think it's reasonable for people who are living healthy and fitter lives. But unfortunately, I think that these topics are used when people are overweight and they're trying to act like the weight isn't affecting the overall health of their body. That's never been something that's ever been said by a doctor, that if you're overweight or you're just like, that's not going to help your organs. That's going to put stress on your whole body. And so I think that, unfortunately, I hate to say it, I'm all for not shaming people, but we have to encourage people to be healthy versions of themselves.
Inside, exactly.
You are not healthy if you're 400 pounds.
I don't care.
You're not.
I don't care what type of body positivity you're carrying. You could be the most confident person in the room. At the end of the day, internally, you're not healthy.
No, it's not healthy. And so you're not going to coin a phrase of body positivity on me or body neutrality. Don't address it like I'm not here. No, to me, if I'm experiencing that with any of my friends, if I become 400 pounds,
please tell me about myself.
Someone needs to tell me.
Yes, tell me, like, bitch, you better tighten up.
You have to get it together.
Go run on the treadmill or something.
And by the way,
pushing one another.
You don't have to look like people think you have to look. I'm also against that. I don't think that everyone has a one type size fits all type of body. Everyone should embrace their body and how they naturally look, but be healthy.
Exactly. While doing it, I feel like a lot of, like, at this point in age, I feel like a lot of females, and what I experience, it's all about the aesthetic.
Yeah.
why are we so worried about aesthetic?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you not just worried about being strong, being healthy inside?
Mhm.
We're not worried about the longevity of it. We're worried about like what I look like. But you're like how she said in the video, your body is just a portion of you. If anything, we're here
Mhm.
and we're here. It's not. So for me, I have like a lot of thoughts and opinions about this, but I just want everyone to like, you don't have to love the way you look. Let's be real. Reality. There's days where I look in the mirror and I'm like, fuck, I lost weight. Cause that's my big problem. If I'm not on it, I lose really quickly and I don't like that. So like there are times where I'll sit in the mirror like, but it's about being grateful for the body that I actually have and being able to get up out of the bed, being able to walk, being able to lift a weight if I wanted to, being able to pick up with my son and being able to play around with him, but just being more grateful in the body that I'm in and the overall health that I have inside.
Yeah, and that's what I call body positivity.
1000%.
You know what I mean? What the way they're defining body positivity is almost like don't say nothing about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't hold me accountable. Don't.
And if you do, now you're wrong.
Right. And it's just, this is the society that we live in and the world of social media. It's just ridiculous. And so I'm just completely against that. And I think that we've had big celebrities that have came out and then also pushed this agenda. And that's not okay. I even saw another video we should have played is there was this video of this woman walking down the aisle of an airplane and couldn't fit down the damn aisle because she was obese and wanted to sue the airlines for not having the aisle big enough.
Bruh.
It's just too much for
It's
me.
too much.
I'm not cool with it. I think it's sending the wrong message, and we just live in a land of sensitivity.
1000%.
And by the way, it goes the opposite way too. It's the way of, let me go get liposuction, let me go put this in my butt, let me do all this stuff to my body, and then go work out and sell a program like I'm the fittest person
like I'm the fittest person in the world and I did this and I made this. This is self-made
Right.
in the kitchen.
So it's both ways.
Yeah.
There's that's unhealthy. And then there's the actually being overweight and not wanting to be held accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think it's real. I don't think we're in a place where we're gonna see the change. I think it's gonna continue to get worse.
Yeah. And I think that once people realize like there isn't a image, like there's not a one size fit all image. Shoot, I can be like, for example, when I moved here, I told you I was 108 pounds. Somebody would look at me and be like, oh, she's so skinny. But I was probably the unhealthiest I've ever been in my life. So it's like, it's like there's no one size fits all. Everyone, we come in different shapes, shades, all that. And that's what makes the beauty of it. It's really trying to fine tune your inner and being healthy inside. And I think when people take that challenge on and like say to themselves, all right, I love me, but I want to feel better internally. And once you do that, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
And I guess the question is kind of like, what is health, right? What does health mean? It really isn't your appearance, but let's not play games and let's not act like something's healthy when it's not. You know what I mean? Just because it's like bodybuilders. They may look like they're in the best shape of their life,
a lot of times they're
healthy.
not because they're on
Oftentimes they're not healthy. You know what I'm saying? If you're on steroids and you're looking phenomenal,
your internal is terrible.
Right.
Like somebody could be a little bigger than you are and you're like this twig and you're unhealthy and they're not. They're really healthy. It depends on, are they moving? What are they putting in their body? Again, like how much sleep they're getting, just a combination of where's your mental at? Like just everything and everything to tackle on and then everything else follows.
Yep, I agree. And so ultimately it's kind of like, it's just having the balance. Embrace your body, but let's be clear if you're healthy or not. You know what I mean? And I think that women, we do have to focus on our health. And that would help ultimately to the better well-being of our mental state and all of that. So what would you say are 2 ways that you actively practice on embracing your body?
I think now, and it kind of ties into like my mindfulness, just sitting in myself. like sitting with my body, just being present, feeling present. I try sometimes and it's really hard. I used to be able to do it when I was living in Porter Ranch, but just going outside and just kind of disconnecting in a sense from all of what's going on here, and just being more in tune with what I feel, the air, what I hear. So that's kind of one way that I'm kind of going about it. And another way, I'm thinking, you go, your turn.
That's top tier. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm thinking embracing my body, right, it's a two-way street. There's the one mental behind it. So I too, like you, in the current state that I'm at, often just remind myself of the blessing of me having 3 beautiful boys and that my body is a byproduct of and really substantial and amazing that I was able to birth
Sure.
those boys. You know what I mean? And so like changing the mindset instead of like, oh, why does it look like that? Or oh my gosh, I don't even recognize the way that my stomach looks, and harping on that because it could get easy to do that. So changing my mentality. And then two, a part of me embracing my body is also knowing that I'm working towards a goal. So being active is a way that I am embracing myself. You know what I mean? I know where I'm at. I see what I'm trying to achieve and just to stay on that train. You know what I mean? Whether
I
it's
could take
early in
that
the
one,
morning,
too.
mid-afternoon, late night walk, however that works. Like the other day, we all went on a family walk and we were running from light post to light post. And it was just like a moment of, and I was thinking to myself, like, this is great. Like I'm embracing the journey that I'm in and what my body's doing for me now,
I think that's a good one. I'm stealing that one because I feel like I'm stealing. I'll say I'll steal it. Just because I feel like with how I said I moved out here, I was like the unhealthiest that I've ever been, just due to stress and a lot of things, being a new mom. But now embracing the journey and loving every step of the way of it. I don't really have like an ultimate, I need to be this much weight and this, and I need to look like this. And for me, it's just, I want to keep moving and just, I want to use this vessel that I have.
Yeah, that's so important. And so really I'm excited because we have Lita who is going to come on and talk, and she, from what I've been seeing on her journey, she is full-fledged embracing her body right now
And I love
what
that.
it means. And we, of course, want to hear from you guys. So hit the hotline. Let us know how you embrace your body. Let us know any tips and tricks of things that you're doing. And also, what are your thoughts about body positivity and neutrality? I'm interested to know. We're interested to know.
I am interested to know.
Okay, so I can't stand using plastic water bottles. Path is the first refillable and 100% recyclable bottled water packaged in a sleek and sturdy aluminum container, which I love. They make it easy for our family to feel good about making a positive impact on the environment, including our kids. Also, their bottles are fully customizable. There's this one particular limited edition Path water bottle featuring the Ninja Turtle characters. My boys absolutely love it. They actually fight over who gets to have it, and it's just a great way to teach them and the next generation the importance of reuse. And you can create your own custom Path water bottle for your next event. I was actually just thinking about it. I wish for all of our 3 gender reveals that we were able to have a team girl or team boy water bottle for the party. Of course, it would have been all team boys. But so visit drinkpathwater.com to check out the coolest designs and to create your own today. Okay, so today we have a special guest. I have had the privilege of knowing her for some time through my husband, and she is just an amazing woman, a wife, a mom of 7.
Six.
Six.
Ooh, you're putting an extra on me. You know what? Say 7 because I include my husband. 7.
Yes.
Yes.
A mom of 6 boys. So we have that in common. And she has been able to inspire the world with her motivation through fitness
Yeah.
and just beautiful, eloquent speaking
You're so sweet.
and encouragement. And you've encouraged me, inspired me. So we are just so excited to have you on the show to talk about everything womanhood, everything body positivity, embracing your body, and what that means to you. So tell us a little bit about your background and we'll get into it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that intro. It's funny, this is the first time that I've actually sat in front of folks and a mic and have that title said out loud.
You're kidding.
That I'm a
Oh,
mom.
wow.
Yeah. So just hearing that actually
Aw.
rings really beautifully to me. Firstly, thank you for having me. It's always nice to be still seen as everything that you mentioned, because I think that after being a mom going back to back, I feel really removed from the space, to be completely honest with you. So it's nice to be reminded, and I appreciate being here. I think for me, when you say background, I almost look at myself kind of like an OG these days. You know, a lot of us came up and built brands on social media.
Yeah.
At the time, Instagram was pretty new when I first sort of started. But my background really was being in a space in my life where I was in a lot of transition. So I had just broken up in what I would consider a serious relationship. I was considering leaving my 9 to 5, my corporate job. Life wasn't necessarily good as far as my mental health and where I was. But, somebody put me onto this Instagram and was like, just take photos in the moment and share it. And at the time, it was very organic. It was like whatever was real in the moment. And I love that about what Instagram was back in the day. But at the time I had found the gym and I was sort of literally working out through what I would have said depression and just not being in a good place, and then sharing that on social media. So my background is to try to, because I will ramble, is just sharing a lot of what was helping me cope with my reality at the time, using social media as a tool, and then just very organically growing this following, primarily of women that kept doing this. Oh, me too. I relate. I see you. As I get that. And so I think there was a lot of power in sharing and being heard, a lot of healing in it too. And I think obviously we skip how long has it been? Almost a decade?
Yeah, longer.
Makes you feel crazy. But and now I use this space really, and I'm actually really proud of this, still reflecting my reality, still connecting with women, and now being able to wear many hats, not just as somebody that's a woman in the fitness space, but as a partner, as a wife, as a mother, and how that reflects how I inspire my community.
So my question is, and by the way, I will commend you because for someone like me who is looking for an authentic person to follow or be inspired by, you have maintained consistency in that space, especially when women are out there basically giving it all up. You know what I mean? And you've stayed true to your core, true to just being a classy woman, but then also being real and showing the reality of life. And I appreciate that because that's what's really going on in my household as well.
Girl, thank you.
And I'm like, we are all getting into it. So that's really inspiring. But I also wanted to ask you, so you said that you were going through a mental space early on, but then also what I've been able to see is your whole transition of being like Lita Lewis, right? She's doing her things, thick thighs, save lives, the whole thing. And then now you have these kids, you got married, you have your kids, and now you're finding yourself again, my me again moment, right? And that's what it's all about. So have you had me again moments up until this point, and are you having one now? Are you trying to find your new identity? What's that like?
Yeah, really good and loaded question, right? I'm having it now because it's so rare to be able to leave my house alone and do something for myself, right?
Yeah.
So being here is one of those moments where I'm reminded of what it's like to be me.
Again.
Thank you. Because she never left, right?
didn't.
And I think that's really important to mention to women. It's like you are always, in essence, who you are. And you need to be reminded of that. Even when life changes and adapts to other realities, that one thing I definitely keep a strong place in meditation is that I am always who I am, and that I'm proud of that person. But now I have the privilege to wear other hats, like being someone's wife, like being someone's stepmom, being someone's mother. Dom, when you mentioned going through this the new changes of being mom and being married, I've always said that I had the opportunity to be mom twice. And not because I've given birth twice, but because when I first met my husband, he was a father of 4 boys. And so my introduction to motherhood was from a stepmom perspective, or what we like to say is a bonus mom. And very quickly, like literally overnight,
Flashbacks.
my world
Turned upside down.
my world changed. I was away at work. I was in Chicago and New York, and I came back to my home, which I shared with my boyfriend at the time, to his 4 kids. And it was like, no, they're here to stay for good, and it was, originally a like a 1 week on, 1 week off situation, which was fine. And still a process for me to get to. But, it was just really interesting that motherhood and this idea of having to take it seriously and be really intentional about how I moved, what I said, was literally overnight. Went to work, came back, and then I'm like, how are we going to make this work?
That's a man for you there. Just bring it on you.
It's not like you didn't have that like process to say, okay, I have 9 months, I'm pregnant. And it was just like,
Yeah.
we're here.
Yeah.
Wait, turn it on. I know you're not a mom yet, but just turn it on.
Yes. I had a somewhat of a warm up because, like I said, we were originally with the kid's mother doing a 1 week on, 1 week off situation. But then to kind of be full time with it and understanding the gravity of what it is to be a parent, it was a process.
Yep.
So I want to say, ever since that moment, not since Jet or Night, but ever since that moment, I have been struggling to get back to what I believe, or who I am. So it's definitely been some time.
And before we get into the body positivity, it makes me think of something from what I've experienced myself. Did you ever experience any like resentment, right, towards your husband in that boyfriend at the time, and then now husband? Because sometimes I feel like naturally I have almost a resentment because it's like I'm here, my whole life changed. Your life probably got 10 times better. You have your cake, you're eating it too, you're in and out the house, you come home to your family, your life is fulfilled. Whereas our roles as moms and bonus mom, right, in the beginning is kind of like we give everything up.
It's a lot of sacrifice.
Yes. And so it's almost like an unintentional resentment that you're starting to feel or harbor. And it can affect your relationship. So I'm wondering, did you guys go through your conversations and all of that of how to like, I need to also feel fulfilled in this moment and have that understanding with each other?
Yeah. Another great question. So the short answer to that is yes. But now in hindsight, I realize more than ever, even though we had conversations about what the future was going to look like, expectations, what I would need in the moment to feel secure, to feel valued, and all the things that you would have healthy conversations about, which I really appreciate and value in my husband. It still did not prepare me for the reality of the situation. It was nice to have, and I think it was important to have, but I still think that when anybody asks me for advice on it, you have to take a moment. Don't just have the conversations and nod and say yes and then create those boundaries, but really marinate and understand what is ahead of you.
Yes.
Because I didn't necessarily see it like, woe is me, this is the choice I made, and now it's become all of this. This is not what I signed up for. One, I love my husband, and I loved him from the get-go. So before he was my husband, which is probably the reason why I'm still here, But also, I think I was thinking more for the children.
Yeah.
Because I came from a home that was broken, and I had to deal with a stepmom who wasn't very nice to us. So I was really sensitive to where the kids were, their perspective. So when we were having these conversations, I kept thinking as a child and not necessarily as someone that's going to step into a stepmom. So I kind of jeopardized what I really needed as a stepmom. So I don't think I was fully present there, whereas my thought process was like, well, what if the kids think, and maybe if I came across like this, they wouldn't, or, and I realized I should have been speaking for myself first, because that would have helped everyone,
Yeah.
in the long run. And because of it, I've hit certain hurdles throughout the process. But I've always said, regardless of whether or not they were my husband's children, right? Even if there were some kids that he had just picked up from the street, right? When there are children in your home, I think it is human nature, or at least it's in a woman's nurture, to automatically love them. If there are kids in your care, you want to protect them. You want to make sure they're fed. You want to make sure they're okay.
Absolutely.
And so I've always said, like, everybody has this, like, oh, girl, how do you take on all this? Oh my gosh, all these kids. And how do you, 4 kids, your husband has 4 kids. And I get it, because it is a lot. I'm not going to downplay that. But it's really also easy to love children.
Yes.
And when you love a man, right, you automatically love his children. At least I think that's supposed to be, I think what comes from our heart. So that part was easy. Everything else was the most difficult part.
Right.
Dealing with, navigating life with another parent, the kid's bio mom, obviously. And then everything else in between, finding your place, or even when it comes to discipline, like what's my place with discipline? All those types of things. So going back to your question, Dom, I think we had the conversations that were valued. I was very appreciative of them, but I think there's so many more layers that should be had to prepare one for what really, is in one's future.
Right.
When they become a stepmom and want to do it well. I wanted to be a stepmom well. And I realized that was more difficult than just coming to the table with a loving heart and loving on them unconditionally. It was so much more than that, and continues to be as they age and grow up into different stages of life.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well,
you have your hands full, and
always.
You are doing it with grace, it looks like.
I try.
Oh my gosh.
I try.
So you took on that journey, right? Gracefully. And now you have your 2 boys, Jet and Night. And like many women, once we have our babies, right, our bodies change. We experience things that we've never seen before. After my 3rd one, suddenly my hips don't work. I don't know what's going on. We go through this. So how have you embraced your body now? What are you doing to stay fit, keep moving? What do you think when you look in the mirror?
Yeah.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. I think learning to embrace my body now is a different journey than what it was, say, before I started like fitness heavy, like before I picked up a weight, right? I'll go out on a limb and saying, I'd step in front of a mirror and not recognize myself. Not just physically, but also mentally. And I think that all plays a big part on what you do see.
Yep.
Admittedly, after Jet, my first, I think I bounced back and I was at my pre-baby weight after 8 to 10 weeks without really doing much, right? Oof. So I almost feel like that was a bit of a blessing. I was like, oh, I ain't done much and here we are. Not bad. Now with Night, a whole nother situation. I'm 5.5 months postpartum and I'm like, what is this? I know. I'm things are jiggling. Things are not fitting in things, in clothes. And it's unfamiliar. I haven't been the type of person to harp on having to be, or even like wanting to be a certain size or certain weight. I've never really cared about that, to be honest. But for me, and I say this all the time, especially on social media, because I get a lot of women hit me up in my DMs about asking me how I cope with X, Y, and Z postpartum life. And it's about how I feel. It really is. Like, I could continue to be, this 10 pounds heavier than I was pre-weight. But if I felt good, I'd be straight, honest. And I mean that really genuinely. I don't feel great.
Yeah.
So I know there's work to do, right? And the struggle for me is just finding time to actually get it done. I'm not the type of person to look to drugs, to do, crash diets. I'm just not. I never have been, and nothing has ever especially anything extreme, has worked for me longevity wise. And for me, it's always been a lifestyle, right? It's
Yep.
always been, what can I maintain and still love my life? Because nothing is worth giving up pizza with the kids on Friday night. It just isn't for me. So I'm really realistic with myself. For me right now, I am not unhappy, but I'm not comfortable. Right. So the process I know will start when I could really have proper time to carve out, to dedicate to myself. And I'm not that type of person that needs to run in the gym and train like boss, like crazy, flinging plates or, bouncing them off the walls and doing crazy stuff. I used to want to be that person. I used to love putting 315 on my back and being like, watch,
I remember you out in New York lifting
You remember?
heavy.
Yeah. It was
yes.
always wanting to keep up with the boys.
Early Instagram days. I remember when I saw, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so strong.
And that's crazy is I don't even recognize that person. Number one, I'm like, what business do I have putting that type of weight on? Like, there's no reason for it. But I'm not that person where my ego comes in play and I'm just lifting heavy to lift heavy. Yeah. If I can walk my neighborhood and then usually that means having to take a baby or two, but throw weight in my stroller just to make it a little bit more difficult, that I clock that as a workout. Yes.
And you should. You moving.
I'm saying I'm moving. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm unfortunate to live in the hilly area. So I'm up, down, and that stroller gets heavy. But I'm saying this is another example of how life changes and what used to be 315 on my back is now literally pushing 2 babies with some ankle weights in the stroller to make it a little heavier. This is where we're at in life. But I think, like I said, it really is a process. I deal with it by trying to remind myself that every phase comes with different acceptance. Meaning, when I first started in fitness, I was in my 20s, right? I'm not trying to be like my 20-year-old self.
Right.
I just turned 40 this year. What does my best self at 40 look like? I don't think I'm there, but I'm going to get there. It just takes time and patience, and I have that.
You're incredible.
1,000%. And I want to go back to what you said about women reaching out to you in your DMs, being that you are transitioning from being bonus mommy to your now mommy. You physically had children. Where would you, for women who don't know where to start? And we know, as trainers, there are a lot of women that I hear it all the time. I'm not ready yet. I got to get ready to go to the gym. Okay. The gym is where you get ready. So where would you say, where would you give tell those women to find that motivation in a sense when they're constantly criticizing themselves and kind of comparing themselves to the standard of what they're supposed to look like and feel like to get into the gym in a sense? Does that make sense?
To me, it's such a loaded conversation because I think it really stems from this self-love.
Yes.
I think a lot of women, and myself included, struggle with what that really is for them. And so it's one thing to say, girl, you don't have to get ready for the gym. You can do this.
Exactly.
It can be a really trivial kind of conversation, right? Or it can be let's talk about why you feel you're not ready or you don't feel deserving of the time to carve out for you. To me, it says layers, right? And so I often try to ask people, why is it that you feel the way you feel? And that usually kind of peels back different responses. And then they realize, oh, it's not that I'm not motivated. It's just that I'm just really insecure to take this body into a public space and do X, Y, Z. There's always something else. There's more to it than just
underlying
I'm
issues.
Unmotivated. We're all unmotivated at times, But do you see what I'm saying? It's a lot more psychologically. I think it goes a little deeper.
1,000%. It goes into all right, well, I don't want somebody my form is not going to be right. They could go into a whole bunch of what ifs. I'm not ready.
I think so. So it's more, it's a little deeper than just saying and wanting to motivate somebody by telling them no, now is your time. You can do it. Get to the root of the issue And so sometimes I will ask a few questions to have them rethink or just change their perspective as to why they feel the way they feel. And that can be helpful, I've noticed, or at least with one girlfriend that I'm thinking of in particular. But it's really common. I tell people all the time, just because I may be seen as like a coach or someone in the fitness space doesn't mean that we always have the answers or always constantly stay
And
motivated.
we're not on all the time.
Oh,
Exactly.
no.
We're human. It's a journey. It's not a sprint. I tell my clients that all the time when it's like they want these fast results or it is a journey. This is lifetime.
Yes.
We're taking it step by step.
And that's I think people need to be reminded about that. I've often with many of my posts use the phrase or the term like the snapback body or the snapback kind of, and a lot of people I think assume that I'd be that because I am a fitness person, and I'm like, oh no, honey.
I'm human.
Yeah, and I'll be quick to be like, I didn't want to place that expectation on myself. I wasn't trying to put that pressure on myself. I don't care what people say. Like this is what it's like. Almost 6 months in, and I ain't where I'm supposed to be, or where you think I'm supposed to be.
And I feel like that's the beauty of it because it shows the raw, the real. It doesn't give that fake expectation that society gives.
Yes.
Where it's like, take your time. Take it one step at a time. Everyone's journey is not the same. And just how you were saying, like from your first to your second, they were drastic. They were different.
Very different.
So it was about like being in the moment. All right, where am I here? How can I get better just from here? Taking it step by step.
I agree 100%.
So, Lita, where do you find the energy
Oh, yeah.
to do anything?
I could ask you the same question.
Wait, I have a question before we get into that.
Yes.
What are the ranges between your stepchildren or your bonus babies and your babies now?
Ages?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the oldest will be 17 in December. The twins will be 14 in a few weeks.
Nice.
Gavin is 11. He's my little Leo twin. We're both Leos, 2 days after my birthday. Leo men. Shout out. You're
That's my
interesting.
husband.
Oh, is he? Oh my gosh, probably why I love him and hate him at the same time. Like, ooh, that Leo attitude. No. And then my son is 1.5, and then the other one will be 6 months soon. Yeah.
Ooh,
So
nice.
they go back to back. But it's we have, like I said, in our household, we're dealing with all different
realms of life.
teenage years and the girlfriends and the puberty and the just all that goes all the way down to like dirty diapers,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So tell me, so with all of that, 17 to 5 months, where do you find the energy to like be mom and then also get your workouts in, stay motivated yourself, and stay confident yourself? Sheesh.
That's you know what, the motivation really stems from like I know when I move, and like I said, it could be just a walk in the neighborhood, but when I can pick up some dumbbells, when I move, period, I've always just felt better. That's how it started right from the get-go. Like I was depressed, and I'm like, what makes me feel good? And I'm like, I'm gonna take a walk up the West Side Highway. Now I'm gonna run it. Now I'm gonna cycle it. I used to live in New York also, so I'm like, to me, movement. Right? And I know boss would love to hear it. Just train,
Just move.
Just made me feel good. So my motivation to get moving doesn't stem from this idea of like, I'm trying to get my flat belly back and build an ass and some strong thighs. Mine is like, I'm motivated to feel good. I couldn't think of anything better to motivate you. Just to feel good.
Wow.
That's enough. That's enough for me. So my motivation comes from like the idea of like really doing the most to carve out some time to move my body. Is easy for me to find the motivation to do so. The actual doing it or actually finding the time to coordinate when will my husband be home, when will he go down for a nap? Typically, that's the hard part. But I'm always motivated to do it because I want to feel good in my body.
Oh my gosh, Lita. Now that is inspiring because when the kids are down for a nap, I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
I just want to sit, put my feet up, maybe snack on something for a second.
No, it's true. No, that's very true. That's real. I listen. The picture is not like he's asleep. The stars are aligned. Now is my time. Absolutely not. I do definitely sit, put my feet up, have a moment around this. And then I just make sure they're both asleep, monitor, yes, deep sleeps. Taking a second, heck, I might even like throw a cookie in my mouth before I pick up the dumbbells. That's the honest truth. Because you do need those moments where you're still. Sometimes I find literally it's like 2 minutes. Sometimes even if I'm on the toilet, can I just keep it real?
Just for a second.
Meditate. And this is me. Positive words of affirmations. Today will be a good day. You can do it. You can do it. This is not a long time. This period, this too shall pass. Like, oh my gosh. I have Post-its on my mirror. My husband be like, babe. I'm like, yeah, I can do this shit. Yes, I can. He's like, well, whatever works. I'm like, oh, it works. I read that every morning. Like, just stuff that works for me is little and very like 101. But that, I'm telling you, works for
Pouring
me.
right back into yourself. That's the only way.
I have to. I'm the only person that's going to do it, really.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So I guess I'm taking so much from you, some little gems. I might start having Post-its in the house. I'm not sure. But I know that as women, regardless of what phase of life we're going through, we have these days that may not always be the best days, and we pick ourselves up. Was your last down day from a mental situation, or was it more of a physical? Like
That's
your
a
body
good
not
question.
responding, or that kind of thing?
Definitely mental.
Mm.
I've had my days. And it's funny because like a lot of people know you from what you post on social media.
Mm.
I'm not the type to post myself crying. I don't know how that works because when I have a moment where I am like the tears are coming, the last thing I'm doing is
It's
like,
cringe. Let's just say it.
yeah, listen,
We can say
no
it.
shade to those.
No
that
shade,
do.
but it's cringe.
I mean, it can be, but to me, it's not. I'm really dealing, like, so I'm not necessarily thinking about documenting it, but I can talk about it, right? And to answer, mental. There's times where I feel so depleted, and unsupported, and I'm sure a guy would hate to hear that, but I just feel like the whole world is on my shoulders, and I'm such a prideful Leo woman. I hate defeat. I will not accept losing or quitting or never finishing. It's kind of like my vice. So when I get to a point where I just need to throw my hands up and literally walk away before I like combust, that's a really bad moment for me. Because that to me is, and I'm sorry, I probably cussed already, I'm sure, but like I just don't give a shit right now. In this moment, I got nothing to fucking give. And I hate that about myself because there's especially two little individuals that need me. And when it comes at a time where I'm needed, whether or not I have to breastfeed my youngest son or mix something up for the other son, if I'm there, I would do everything in my might to get that done before it's like, you're good, you're sitting, you're strapped, and then I have to walk away. It is mental. It's not a physical thing so much because it's me getting in my head that I've just failed. Bang, 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 bang. I can't recover. I give up. And I don't like to admit that about myself, but has it happened? Yeah, multiple times.
And
it's
I
difficult.
like that you're bringing that up because I don't think that's talked about enough because I feel like a lot of moms go through that. And even with myself, it's like, I want to get everything right. I want to like get everything right, everything perfect with schedule. But when things start shifting and not going the right way, I kind of get to that point where it's like, I failed that in my head, but I don't speak about it. And then it comes out that way where I do shut down.
Yes.
Or like I feel unsupported and I feel like by myself and alone, but I'm not really. Yeah. So I feel like it's just a nice little conversation startup in a sense. Because there are a lot of women out there that do struggle in a sense and they don't speak in a sense. And they go into the same things where it's like, I'm failing, but you're not. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah.
And
it's hard to remind yourself
doing
of
a
that.
great job.
Oh, you have to remind yourself. And the thing is too, is something that I've been like just dealing with is I also oftentimes don't feel supported. And I realize, because I would have these conversations with boss and he's like, I mean, what do you mean? You have this, you have this. You know, he's logically thinking.
Yes.
And as women, we really need the emotional support.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I do want to sit here and talk to you about how stressed I am because I dealt with 7 to 20 tantrums.
Yeah.
And it's only
It
11
oftentimes
o'clock.
feels like 20. But yeah, I've dealt with all this. I want to feel like, hey, like I want you to connect with me, and my day was equally as important as yours, even though you had these top tier meetings. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that could be ostracizing.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm so thankful to have you here to tell your story as well. Because I think that as women, we really do need to inspire each other, encourage each other to continue to connect, and we can be our own village and hear and give ourselves a chance to be heard. And because everyone's going through similar things, just like you
Mhm.
said,
I
people are
agree.
DMing you, I'm sure, all the time.
Yes.
And this is, it's true.
Oh, yeah.
We want this to be a platform where people can call in, express their frustrations as well,
Awesome.
but ultimately take away some tips and tricks to move forward in a positive direction and uplift each other.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
I love that.
Because it could, we can get into a place as women where we're just like defeated, and we just have to keep that ball rolling.
Yep.
So I guess we'll close with, what are your tips to an overall healthy life, mentally, physically, for women?
Ooh. As you were talking, though, something came to mind. So this is definitely a tip that has worked for myself and my husband. And he brought this to me, so I was really happy that it came from him. He said, though, because just like you said, when you have partnered in doing life with a high-functioning individual that may not always be in the household, that gets just a very fraction of what it is in real time to deal with multiple tantrums back to back. You lack the time to even feed yourself, let alone nap or rest when you need to. And when that person's in front of you, when your partner's in front of you, and they're like thinking logically. So the idea of logic, an example would be, well, an answer would be, let's hire help. It's always this answer that's not necessary, hearing you in your emotional state, right? My husband is very much the same. He is results driven. He is like solution driven. So to me, he'll see the problem, find a solution. But as mothers that are dealing with this reality of emotions, of little people lacking ourselves, he says, going forward, right, there's times when we come together and we're talking about something, I need to know if this is going to be a solution-driven conversation or an emotional and support-driven conversation. So either you're going to express yourself and you just want me to be there to listen, or you want me to be like, okay, head to head, let's find a solution. And sometimes that was really helpful, because sometimes when I'm expressing something, I do want him to find a solution. Like, help me find a solution. Like, do something. Or it's like, just hear me. Can you just hear me out today? And that has actually been really helpful for us. So I'd like to share that with other couples, because for women, the women that you just expressed and described, we'll be on two different pages about what we need in the moment. So that's one tip I think I'd love to share, because that's helped me. And then the second, I think, is something that I would tell myself. The idea that, you mentioned this, Naycha, that nothing is immediate. Like literally nothing, unless you're going through a drive-through, you know? And we want you to stay out of those as often as possible. But the idea is that being in a moment, like I'm in this moment where I'm not my healthiest, I'm not my best self, and that's uncomfortable for me, and I know that other women relate to that, especially high-functioning women that usually like get the shit done. And like, I'm really proud to be on this like progressive, path. It's hard to kind of admit, like I'm moving 10 times slower than what I usually am. That it's okay. It's the pace at which you're going is okay. It is okay to sleep in. It is okay not to be the best self every day. I have to tell myself that all the time. Today, even though I read my affirmations from my Post-its in the mirror as I brush my teeth every morning, is that maybe today might not be great, but I'm going to go in thinking that it will be. I have to be hopeful. And that's kind of what gets me through, is just knowing that this moment doesn't have to be perfect in order for me to still have a great day. And then quite frankly, Dom, I also take this huge step back. And this has been helpful in most recent times. As we see the world change and develop, I realize, and this was something I recently posted, I came across it. It's like, if you get to put your child down in a warm, safe bed, right? If you get to put a roof over your child's head, if you get to dress them in clothing, feed their bellies, and wake up to them in the morning safe with a smile, everything's going to be okay.
Can make you
Everything's
cry.
going to be okay because we know in other parts of the world that is not the situation. And I, for one, am one of those people that are really aware of my privilege and my blessings, not to negate the hardship of motherhood, right? Because they can coexist. Never to negate it, but to also realize I'm okay today. And my kids are okay today, which motivates me that tomorrow would be just as blessed. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you
That
for
is so
that.
incredible. Oh my gosh, you are just like a breath of fresh air. I'm
Girl,
not
you're
even
so
playing.
sweet. This being here, can I just get comfortable?
Come on, get comfortable.
I was like, do
you
if
want
I
me
can
to
make
get
any
you a
suggestion,
sheet?
it's like I should have said you got cocktails, Dom. I'm coming.
I should have had a wine.
Pour the
Come
glass
over
up,
for
glass of
wine.
wines, you
I
know?
was like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no. But this is
Mimosas.
being here is a breath of fresh air. Please know that it's nice to get out.
Well, your
For some men.
story is inspiring. You've been inspiring
Yes.
from the beginning. And when
Thank you.
when we first agreed that we were going to do this podcast, I said, Lita's perfect. Sign her up. I said, I'm
love that.
texting her right now because your journey has not only been inspiring from the beginning of when you were single, Lita, and dating or whatever your journey was, but now to see you grow into this mother and phenomenal woman who just is going through life so peacefully, and you give off that peace. It's really consoling for other moms who are like in stress. You know what I mean? Like the other day you did post, it was like a sunset and you were with your boys, and I could have melted my heart
Yeah.
because I'm like, I think in the moment I was going through, like I had just got knocked in trouble. It was like a whole thing. And I'm like, it's too chaotic in here, you know? And one baby's crying, the other one's, screaming, holding onto my leg. And it gets to that moment. So when you have an outlet to just really influence people and the way you're using it, it's just remarkable. I
Aw.
just think it's so
It's a
incredible.
beautiful thing to hear that. Thank you. Because like I
Yeah.
said, when you're stuck in your motherhood, you often forget what
You
you built
forget.
in the community.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing. And I'd admit, I'm not always on social media like I used to. But when I do hear from women, it's a reminder that always sparks my, love, zest for what I was so wholeheartedly
Yeah.
to where I am today. So thank you for sharing that. It
Yeah.
means a lot.
Oh, of course.
So for all the viewers out there, that want to kind of follow you along your journey as well, I know you have your fitness, and I hear you have something with clothing.
Yeah.
I need you to send that this way. Where can we find you?
Awesome. Yeah, no, so my socials are just a play on my name, Lita, being Lita. So it's follow the Lita across socials. And then, yes, I do own my own women's activewear apparel line called Thick Athletics Apparel. You don't have to be thick to wear it.
You have size small?
We do. We have small. We have extra small. So it's but even the size small, extra small. There's women that say they're thick and they be in it, and I love it. It's a mentality, you see, right? Even the slender girls be working some muscle. But yes, I do, and it's always fun to run and empower women that way also. And that's thickathleticsapparel.com. Yeah.
Jotting it down right now.
It's doing
Down,
it
y'all.
all.
Thank
Run the
you, ladies.
business.